Welcome to the Communication in the Workplace training here at Gila River Indian Community Employment and Training Department. My name is James Tree and I'm a training specialist. And we also have with us.
My name is Elisia Manuel and I'm an outreach coordinator here at Employment and Training Department. Good communication is a key part of success in the workplace. So James, can you tell us what exactly is communication?
Yes, the ability to communicate effectively with colleagues, staff, and your supervisors is essential, no matter what industry you work in. Yes, communication is the process of transmitting information and common understanding from one person to another. It is the exchange of thoughts, ideas, and emotions and understanding between sender and receiver.
So different ways that people communicate in the workplace are, James?
Through phone.
I would say through text messaging.
And through their body language.
All right, James, can you tell us why communication is so important in the workplace?
Good communication in the workplace creates an increase in trust and leads to a stronger team, morale, innovation, performance, productivity, and efficiency, and reduces conflict.
So some forms of communication are verbal. It could be sounds, speaking, writing, your tone of voice, listening, and there's nonverbal. James, can you tell us about some nonverbal communication skills?
Yeah, nonverbal communication skills are also known as body language. So they are your gestures that you make. Using your hands is a form of gesture. Also, your posturing. The way you posture your body is also a form of communication. And also your facial expressions. Did you know that research says that we speak in 3 different forms? And the first form is physiologically, through our body language. And we speak 55% of the time through our body language. And through our tone of voice, we speak 38% of the time. And we are either fluctuating our voice up and down, or we're able to project our voice loud or soft. Third, our words, we use 7% of the time we communicate with others around us.
Wow, James, that information of the 3 forms of communication, your body language, your tone of voice, and your words, is great information.
Yes, it is great information. And it's really important to point out that only 7% of the time we communicate with others, we use our words. So it's really important to focus on our words to make sure that we effectively communicate with each other.
So now let's talk about the elements in communication process. James, can you tell us about it?
Yes, the elements in the communication process is important to know as we communicate with others. So there is always a sender of information or the message, and there is always a receiver of the message sent by the sender. And it's important to know that through the transmission of information, it can be verbal and also nonverbal, which is through our body language. It's important to know with communication if it's effective. And how we know that is by the feedback that we receive from the receiver of the message. It's important to note that when the sender sends the message, that they get the right feedback from the receiver.
So now we're going to talk about communication techniques, effective listening skills.
Okay, it's important for us to effectively listen. And first, we have to face the speaker and also have complete concentration and attention to whoever you're talking to.
Second, we want to avoid distractions, like our cell phones.
Next, we have to be mindful of avoiding interruptions. And make sure when you're talking with someone that you are in a private location or in a location where you're not interrupted. Don't be so quick to impose your solutions when you're conversing with others, such as when they're telling you about a problem and you have the answer to the problem, don't interrupt them by giving them the answer at the beginning of their conversation with you.
Next is non-judgmental. Keep an open mind to what people are telling you. Another important factor is congruent body language. Using eye contact, being eye level with the individual. If you're having a conversation, you never want to be above a person, especially if you're having a disagreement. You want to make sure that you're at equal level, equal ground, so that things are neutral at all times.
Further, we can also use communication techniques and that help us maintain our open conversation with those we are talking to. We can use statements such as encouraging.
So we would say things like, tell me more, or go on. I see. Or really, that's interesting, right?
Exactly. Also, we use encouraging statements so that we can convey our interest, and it also encourages the speaker to keep talking. Next, we can also use a clarifying statement, and that involves asking questions.
So a simple question that I could ask is, could you describe that? Or can you give me more detail? Would that work?
Absolutely. And the purpose of using a clarifying statement is to get more information and also get more detail as far as the information they're providing to you. In addition, we can restate or paraphrase.
So if we were having a conversation, James, and I would say, so what I think I heard you say would be something that I would utilize in our conversation?
Certainly. That is how we would paraphrase and restate. And the purpose of paraphrasing and restating is to clarify and check on your understanding and interpretation of the speaker's message, and it lets the speaker know you got it. The next one is reflecting, and it's about feelings. The purpose of reflecting is to check or acknowledge the speaker's feelings and show understanding of the speaker's view of the situation.
When we are having a conversation, I would probably say something like, I get the feeling that you are sad about this. Maybe ask a question, so what you're feeling sad about is, would that work?
It certainly will. Next is summarization. Summarization is used in planning something or in a business to review progress. Also, with summarization, you are summarizing the main points of discussion with the person you are talking with.
Okay, thanks, James. So it could just be something simple like, let's summarize that.
Correct.
Okay.
Lastly, let's talk about a validation statement. So the purpose of a validation statement is to acknowledge the value of the speaker's issues or feelings, and to express appreciation for the speaker and their efforts and actions that they have done.
So some examples that I could definitely use is, I really appreciate what you said, or even thanks for speaking up, or thanks for the information that I just obtained today. Correct?
Absolutely. Validation is essential to ensure that you support the individual and also encourage positive behavior. Lastly, let's talk about communication stoppers that we want to avoid. The first thing is ordering.
So I can't tell you to get it done now?
Absolutely not. Next is warning.
Well, what about if you don't do it, you're going to be sorry?
Next is judging.
You are so wrong, and that's not the way it's done.
Furthermore, we do not name call.
Are you telling me I can't call you a dummy or an idiot?
Absolutely not. Next is interrupting.
Well, I have an important phone call to make, so I can't take my calls.
Exactly. Lastly is distracting.
I have somebody knocking at the door right now, so they're more important than you. I'm going to attend to them. Or I got emails to check right now. Would that be appropriate?
That absolutely would not.
So now we just finished up talking about the things that you don't want to say when you're in a conversation. So we went over ordering, warning, judging, name calling, interrupting, and distracting. And we had examples of things that you do not want to do or say in a workplace.
Well, that's a wrap on the communication in the workplace training. We thank you for participating. And also, I want to, if you have any questions or want to discuss further about the topics that you learned in our training, please contact your coordinator.
We really appreciate you joining the training today, and I'm very appreciative to be with our trainer to provide this training. We encourage you to utilize your words more than 7% so that we can convey our conversation with your employers and in your new work environment. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.